Hello everyone, my name is Saraya and I do all the filming for my husband Terry aka Stutzman52. If you like this video or any other video on Stutzman52 channel, click on the subscribe button, then click on the settings button. Check it off and then click on the save button. Now you'll be notified by email of any new video uploads for this channel. Thank you.
Guys, now I want you to take note of this here diagram, and then we're going to take a look at the under the car. All right, this right here is a crankshaft position sensor. Now I thought originally this thing was located up over there by the crankshaft pulley, but I am wrong. This is located behind the catalytic converter, so if you ever want to change that joker, you're going to be pulling the catalytic converter off, because there is no way you're going to get to it. And we'll show it to you here in just a second. There's our dummy timing plug. Take notice of it. Alright, now see, there's nothing else up in here. It's kind of like it sits out there all by itself. Should be easy to find. Now let's take a look at the car. Now you notice we have a coolant line. It's a metal coolant line that's running around over here. There's our crankshaft position sensor. There's a connector for it. It's got one bolt that holds it on. The bolt's right over there on the other side. Alright, so this here is the bracket that was where the catalytic converter was. Remember that other bracket that I showed you wrapped around the catalytic converter? Well, it goes right here, and those studs drop down in from the top. Now, this is not a necessary step, but I am going to get this bracket out of the way for two reasons. One, you guys, so you can get a little bit better shot. Meanwhile, you guys be looking for that timing plug up there, because it took me a few minutes to figure out where this thing was at. Alright, so let me go ahead. Let's get these bolts out. A 13mm socket will take care of that for you. Oh, and the other reason I'm taking this bracket off, like I said, is for you guys to get a little bit better shot of seeing what's going on, because I ain't seen nothing on YouTube about it. So, and also I want to clean these things up, like sandblast them, prime them, and also, you know, get these things painted, because I hate rust. So I'm going to screw those bolts right back in for now. Okay. Now, you can see there's only two bolts really left, right? You see there's one bolt right here, and you got this stud that's actually supporting this here coolant line. That's what both of these are doing. Now, you think, well, surely, hell, they wouldn't be using a timing pin to do that. And I said, well, no, they wouldn't be doing that. I said, but hell, you know, all this stuff that you see in here that's behind this catalytic converter, and you see the crankshaft position sensors over here where you got to remove that catalytic converter. I said, well, hell, maybe the Volkswagen engineers and the Ford engineers got together to decide to build this engine. So now I'm just going to see what the hell is what. So I take this bolt out. This here, again, is a 13mm. Okay. Alright, so look. We have this here bracket up here. Alright, so I'm going to put that down. Alright, so now I'm going to go get this nut over here. So let's take that nut out. Alright, so now we screw the nut off. Again, 13mm. Alright, so we get him off of there. Let's put him down. Now you say, well, there. Well, damn, it's just a coolant bracket, right? Well, but no, look right here. Right there, behind this here bracket for this coolant line, there's another one. There's a stud with a nut on it. Alright, let's screw that out. Alright, so now, that's a 13mm. So, let's screw that joker out. And then, when it comes out, this is what you get. There is our dummy timing plug. Who in the hell would ever thought that, right? I mean, you're thinking it would be off to by itself somewhere, but nope, it is actually being used to support the coolant line here. Okay, so there you go. Now, I took a mirror And I put it up here and I put a flashlight on it so I could see inside that hole to see if it was actually clear all the way through the block. And it was. I actually did that to start with this one right here. And that's a blind hole right there, so it doesn't go all the way through the block. So this looks like where we're going to be putting our timing pin at. And for keeping up with our bolts, I'm just going to screw that one back in for that. And then for our dummy timing pin, I'm just going to put the nut on it like it was before. And I set it aside. Make sure you don't lose that joker, because you're going to have to put it back in once this job is done. One other thing before we move away from here is you'll notice that this here coolant line, like I said, it's metal and it connects up here to this rubber hose. And you see there's a hose clamp right here. And looky here, there's another hose clamp just kind of hanging around. I suspect what happened was the guy loosened up the hose clamp, and then it slid on down here, and lo and behold, he couldn't get to it no more. Unless he pulled the catalytic converter off. So there it is, it's hanging. So then he just got another one that looks like and stuck it on there. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to be taking this thing off. Alright guys, catch you in the next shot. Alright, now we're getting ready. I'm going to take the serpentine belt off. Before I do that, and we want to look at the layout of here. What I want to do is I take the diagram, I look at it, and then I compare it to the car to see, is this the way it's really routed? And it is. Alright, so you can see some of the items here that's already marked out. This belt tensioner is number 8, so you can see that we have to go clockwise to release the tension to get the belt off here. Now, let me give you a shot and show you what it looks like underneath. That'd be the best, but you can get an idea. You can see what it's going to look like up underneath here, and I'll just kind of scan across. So there you go, that's what we got here. Kind of laid on my back here, so that tensioner is going to be right there. And before we take the belt off, this here is a water pump pulley. You want to loosen up these 3 bolts. We'll take advantage of the tension on the belt to hold the pulley in place. A 10mm socket will take care of that for you. I have already loosened these up. Okay. Okay, so I've got the tensioner over. I just lift it off of the tensioner pulley, and get the longest wrench you can, because this tensioner has a lot of tension on it. And so I'm just releasing it and letting it go back down now. Alright, so what we want to do is just take this here belt off. I believe I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to replace this belt. Again, I don't know the condition of what the history of this car is, so let's just go ahead and take it on down. If you're going to reuse your belt, then mark the belt, with an arrow or something, so you know the direction of the rotation. In this case, this engine here rotates clockwise when you're looking at it from the front. And once you get your 3 bolts out, this here should come on out. If not, if yours is a little stuck, you can take a screwdriver. In fact, mine was a little bit stuck, and I just put it right under there, kind of wedge up on it, turn it around, wedge up, and then it just, popped off. So there we go. Well, maybe it might be a good idea we're changing this water pump, because this got all kind of liquid up here. It's hard to tell if it's antifreeze, oil and coolant mixing, but it has got debris all the way around it. So like I said, we'll change him out too. Also, while you got the belt off, it's a good time to be checking your pulleys now. Check your bearings. Go side to side, see if you got any side to side play in it. You can check your end to end play. You can check your compressor. You can check your clutch, see if you got any issues there. Okay. Water pump, oh yeah, definitely. We definitely got a little play. Let's see. Yep, it got a little side-to-side play, so definitely needs to be replaced. Now we got our idlers up here, Serpentine Idler way up here. Now here's that idler way up here I was talking about, and it's got a little bit of loopy in there. Let me just go take care of that one too. There's your alternator way up there. Yeah, it feels okay. Yep. Oh. And here's our tensioner. Thing, I don't know, we may just take care of that tensioner too. Okay, he feels okay. But if you're looking right up here, you know what I'm noticing is, if you look, it might be hard to see, guys, but if you look up here on this alternator, you see all this belt residue right here. You can see there's a little bit right in here, and that's all around the tensioner. It might be that this tensioner's spring is in it. It's getting a little weak, and maybe this here belt is kind of might be somewhat slipping, causes some wear, and then all this debris just goes out everywhere. So we just may take care of that tensioner, maybe replace him too. Alright, I'm going to take this here bolt loose for this Serpentine Idler. It's right in front of the engine support bracket, which we'll be having to take that off too later on. So let's go ahead and take him out. You can forget about putting a socket, even a shallow one up here. You're going to have to use a wrench because it is pretty tight clearance because of the frame rail that's right over here. Okay. Well, how you liking your car so far, Seraya?
It's a lot of hard work.
No, but you love this car.
Yes, I do. I can't wait to drive it.
Love this car. Alright, that's fine. Okay, guys, well, I'm going to be continuing screwing this bolt out, and when I get it out, I'll show you the pulley and the bolt. Alright, I think I got the bolt out now. Let's get it on out of there. Come here. There we go. And let's drop it on down. So there you go. There's the back side. Okay, looks like the bolt stays pretty much in there. Alright. Okay, I think what I'm going to do now is I want to go ahead and try to just lift this here valve cover out of the way. And this, of course, the valve cover fits up underneath. Now you might can take it and pry it on it, but it's pretty snug. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen up these upper timing belt cover bolts. 8mm socket will take care of it for you. There's one there. Now what? I just loosen them up. That's all I did. There's one over here, right there, and there's going to be one way down here, right where my finger is at, right there. So loosen those three up, and I've already got it loose. Okay, and now let's see if we can just take this valve cover and just see if we can lift it out of there. Alright, so I'm going to lift the back end up, just kind of pull it back out this way, and this. Wow,
Ooh.
This looks complicated. Alright, so there we go.
Something that's not rusted for a change.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the valve cover. Of course, we're going to change, the gasket. Yeah. Looks like we may have a little bit of oil leakage over here. In any event, he's going to get changed anyway. Okay. Okay, the next step is I'm going to remove these spark plugs. You don't have to do that, but I'm going to be replacing them anyway, and it does make the engine a little easier to turn over. So I'm going to take my air hose here. I got a rag, and I'm going to go down in there in the spark plug well, and I'm just going to sit here and I'm just going to blow these spark plug wells out and get some of that little bit of coal that's still down in there and what other debris might be laying around the spark plug. Alright, just breaking these spark plugs loose now. Now here's the spark plugs. You can see I took and stuck them in a cardboard. That's what I kind of like to do. And then I label it to which cylinder it came out of. Now these spark plugs are auto lights. They have a number of 5364. That's what's on it. Now some waste spark ignition systems, they actually use two different numbers, part numbers for the spark plugs. I don't know if these spark plugs have been changed before, but I'll look more into that and see if that is the case. But anyway, they look like they're burning pretty good, and I'd say we're doing all right. All right, guys, let's go over this here crankshaft pulley. Now, you know the engine rotates clockwise, all right? Now, there's two notches on here, and it's going to be very hard to see, and I got it zoomed in, but I can show you that one is right there. If you put your fingernail on it, you can actually see it. And you see this one over here? I put a tab of marker on here so it will highlight out, so hopefully you should be able to see that. Alright, the notch that we're concerned with is not this one here, but this here second one. This one over here where I got the white paint. So remember, you're going clockwise, you'll see the first notch, you'll be concerned with the second notch. Now I'm not going to call these timing marks, because if we could time it with this, then we wouldn't need a timing pin, which is I'm going to show you coming up next. Alright, so if you look down here on the block, you can see there's an embossment down here. Well, somewhere close to the right hand side, that's where this here notch should line up. Keep in mind, it's not exact, because we're not using this as a timing mark. I think what their Ford is trying to do is saying, hey, look at this notch. Now, when it starts coming up and you're getting in this vicinity, stop before you get there, okay? Now, once we get up in this vicinity on the right hand side, we should be close to top dead center. Now, with all most engines out there, you're going to be timing it where number one piston is on the top dead center on the compression stroke. So, if we put it down here and we get it fairly close, then we could be on the compression, or we could be on the exhaust stroke for the number one piston. But we don't know which one, okay? Now, so what we're going to do is we're going to get it somewhat close in the area. So I'm going to turn the crank. By the way, this is an 18mm socket. So let me get the ratchet so you can see it. Now remember, we're not timing it. We're not putting this on top dead center, but it should fall somewhere in there. Now let's go take a look at the camshafts and let's talk about them. All we know right now is that we're close to top dead center, not right on it. We're either on the compression or we're on the exhaust stroke. Now let's go take a look at the camshafts. Alright, by the way, this is a camshaft position sensor, which is at the rear of this camshaft. This is the intake camshaft. Okay, take a notice at the rear of the camshafts, both of them. There's a slot that's milled across each camshaft. There's one here, there's one over here. These slots are milled off-centered. They're not in the center, so they offset from the center. Now, where we finished up with the crankshaft, you can see, it may be hard to see, but these here slots are up at the top. They're near the top, okay? If I turn the crank one more revolution, 360 degrees, these slots will be on the other side offset, so they'll be lower. Now we take a tool. What we want to do is we want these here slots to be up on the top, so that this here tool can slide, this part right here can slide into those slots on both of the camshafts. Now you see that is pretty close, right? Now, but is that because I'm not quite at top dead center? Or could it be that one or more of the camshafts are slightly out, you know, because of the belt stretching maybe a little bit? So we're guessing, but we don't want to guess. So now let's go, and I'm going to show you how to time top dead center up at the number one piston. Okay. Now we know that we're very close to top dead center on the compression stroke. Now, for illustration purposes here, if I take this around, going clockwise, you'll see the white marker come back up again. Okay, there you see it coming up, and we're close to that same area. Well, now those slots that are up there on the camshafts, they're now on the lower end, so you will never be able to slide the bar in. Thus, we're on the exhaust stroke. All right, now let's set it like it needs to be, top dead center for the compression stroke, using the timing pin. Okay, so if I go back around again, those slots are going to be coming back up on the top of the camshaft. You'll see the white mark again. Now, what you want to do, remember, let me get my screwdriver to point it out. Now remember, here's our embossment. Here's the right edge. What you want to do is you want to stop this here crankshaft pulley with the white mark. Remember, second notch. And you want to stop it before you get to this point. It doesn't matter where you stop it, you can stop it. You can stop this here, it could be up here, could be a little down here, anywhere up in here is fine. Now, we're going to go to the side of the block and we're going to screw in the timing pin. Alright, there's that timing pin hole. Here's our timing pin. It's the long one. Alright, we're going to screw it in. And you want to screw it in till that bottoms out. No need to put a wrench on it. And so there it is, okay? Now, I'm going to turn the crankshaft pulley again. Keep a check on the white mark. Now I have the timing pin in place. Now what is going to happen, if one of the crankshaft throws is going to come around and it's going to hit that pin and it's going to butt up to it, and then that's going to stop this here crankshaft from turning. So there you go. We are now at top dead center, number 1 piston on the compression stroke. Now let's go back up to the camshafts where the slots should be up at the top. Now the slots on the camshafts are up from center. Now let's take a look at our bar. We take our bar and you notice we still cannot slide it in. But we do know that we're at top dead center. Alright, so now it could be that the camshafts could be slightly out, and then which they are, which coming from the timing belt. Maybe there's a little bit of slackness in it because it might have stretched. Now if you notice that I can get it in on one. And I can get it, this one almost, but it's got to rest up on the deck of the head. So I got to go just like that. Now the way we have to adjust that, if it turns out that you know that it's not the timing belt and we wrap this around, then we're going to have to break these 2 sprockets loose. There's 2 T50 bolts in there, and we have to break them loose, and we'll discuss all that in the next video if we do have to come to that. But I just wanted to let you know that you got to get these slots up on the top, and that will be your compression. And you got to have that timing pin in there. If you rely on the mark over there, you saw where what landed up, but it's just for a reference. It's not actual timing marks. If it was, we wouldn't be having to use the timing pin. Okay. One other thing that can tell you that you're up on top dead center for number 1 piston, and it's on a compression stroke, is taking a look at your camshaft lobes. Now this right here, these are the 2 cam lobes for the intake. Alright, right here. You'll notice that these lobes are maybe a little bit hard to see. Alright, you can see that those lobes are pointing straight out to the side. I'd say going counterclockwise, looking at angles that look like it's at a 0-degree angles. And if you come over here to the exhaust side, you can take a look at those. Let me get you a little better lighting. There you go. You can see that the exhaust valves here, they would be closed. You can see the exhaust lobes on the cams. The exhaust lobes, cam lobes are pointing straight out towards the front of the engine. I would say they would look like they'll be at 180 degrees. I heard you out there, YouTuber. I heard you say, take a damn break. All right, I think you're right. You guys have been right with me from the start. You're sweating right along with me, crawling under this car, and you're right. I think we ought to take a break. And what do you think, Saraya?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. All right, guys, let's wrap this up. As the next video, we'll start pulling more of this stuff off the front of the car, and then, and then we'll get going with it.